Hello TL Travelers and welcome back to the TL Travel YouTube channel. We just got back from our trip to Germany and our adventure through the Bavarian Alps, and so I wanted to do a sit-down video for you guys similar to what I did for our Netherlands trip and for our Belgium trip, to just chat with you about our likes and dislikes for this trip so that you guys know our honest review. So if you haven't already seen the vlog series from Germany, I will leave some links in the down bar below so that you can check them out. And without further ado, let's just get started. So I'm just going to jump right in with the things that we really liked about our trip to Germany, and then I'll get to the things that we maybe didn't prefer so much. This is not my first trip to Germany. I did stop in Berlin and in Munich for Oktoberfest on my first backpacking trip through Europe, but this is the first time that we've actually spent any amount of time, more than like a day or two here and there in the country, and getting out into the countryside really made all of the difference, and driving through the mountains, and it was just so amazing. We had such a great trip. So keeping in mind that we spent most of our time in Bavaria and driving through the mountains and did not head north on this trip, one of our favorite things about Bavaria was just how beautiful the scenery was. If you're an outdoors person, or even if you're not really an outdoors person, like I'll hike and I'll bike and I'll do all those things, but I'm not like a huge outdoorsman. But if you're gonna be an outdoorsy person anywhere, that is the place to do it. It was just spectacular. The scenery was beautiful. We rented a car and drove the Alpine Road, and it was just, every turn there was somewhere to stop and see. So I'm also gonna leave a link to the Alpine Road vlog in the down bar below. So if you wanna know a little bit more about how we did that drive and where we stopped and the things that we liked and disliked about the Alpine Road portion of our trip, you can check that out on the TL Travel website, and then I don't have to go into all the details here for those of you who've already seen it and watched it go down on the vlog. And then right there, on the same level as just being a beautiful place to explore the outdoors and having so much to see and do, another thing that we really liked about our trip to Germany and Bavaria was that it really seemed like it was the kind of place where, whether it was summer or winter, there was a lot to see and do. We experienced all varieties of weather while we were there. We had days where we got huge amounts of snow, and we had days where we got huge amounts of rain, and we had beautiful hot summer days. So when it was raining, there was distilleries and spas and all these different things that you could do indoors. On the nice summer days, there was hikes and walks that you could do. You could go stand up paddle boarding. There was boats that you could rent and go out on the lake. That was amazing. And then on the winter days, obviously they have ski hills and all that kinds of things up in the mountains. You can go up in the gondola. There just seemed to be an endless amount of things that you could do no matter what the season was, and that's another thing that I really like, because I'm big on countries that you can visit and enjoy any time of the year. The third thing that we really appreciated about Germany, and something that we find in a lot of European countries is great, was the transit. So not only did they have trains available that you could take out into the mountains, into the Alps, but once we were out there, we had free access to the bus, so we could take the bus around through all the little towns and villages. You could easily take the train back into Munich and explore the city. And once you were in Munich, you could pick up a train pass or a transit pass that could take you around the city, and it made it really easy to explore everything that we wanted to see in a short amount of time. Now over to our dislikes from the trip, or things that we found maybe were not our preference. So my first dislike comes to food. Now don't get me wrong, the food was great, but one thing that we found about dishes, whether it was street food dishes, whether it was high-end expensive restaurants, no matter where we ate, the food was super salty. And I don't know if this was just like, it just happened to be a huge coincidence that this happened everywhere that we ate, or if it's just something to do with the tastes of like the culture, but there just always seemed to be like a little too much salt going on. I tried to do like a Google search and see if that was something that was common or that people found about German food, or if German food was like known for being more salty, or if just food in that region, I don't know. But I couldn't find anything. So if you are a traveler, or if you're familiar with that area and you know why this would be a thing, I would love for you to leave it in the comments below, because I'm honestly just like baffled as to whether or not this is just a huge coincidence, or if their food is just really salty and that's just a thing that it is. I don't know, could be a thing. And then the second sort of unfortunate thing that we found with our experience in Germany this time around was, it was not so much once we got out into the Alps and things like that, but definitely in Munich, people seemed to be completely intolerant of travelers or like foreigners. And not in the same way that certain cultures can be like really intolerant of tourists, like in Bangkok, for example, like in Paris and all that kind of stuff. You hear that like if you ask for help or you need this or you need that, like no one will help you and blah, 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 blah. It wasn't like that so much, but more like even in the airports, people who were at the ticket sales desk who like are hired to assist travelers coming in from the airport and like trying to get taxis and things were really rude about speaking English. They didn't want to speak English with us. They made a point of telling us that they didn't want to speak English with us. And then they were often really short with us as far as giving us answers to questions. Like we were trying to figure out the transit system, for example, and what kind of pass, like day pass we needed. And the guy behind the counter just wasn't having it. When we went to get food in the airport, when we went to get food just outside of our hotel, again, it was a situation where she didn't even want to serve us. And I'm the kind of traveler who like does try to learn a little bit of the language and does sort of try to like make things as easy as possible for people in the cities that I'm visiting. Like if I know that they don't speak English, I just kind of like pick a menu item, point to it, yes, cool, whatever. Say please and thank you in whatever the language is. Like I do my best. So I can only imagine that for travelers who don't do that or aren't like that, it would be kind of a jarring experience to like land in Germany and just like be hit with all that sass, because I was not about it either. But in saying that, once we did get out to Bavaria, everyone was very, very kind. If they spoke English or didn't speak English, they were very helpful or they did their best to help us. So I don't know if it was a city thing or just, again, with the salty thing, we just like maybe had some bad encounters in the city that we didn't have in the country. But that was sort of like the only two things that I can think of that put a bit of a damper on our trip. Other than that, we had a wonderful time. Beautiful country, lovely people. I have friends who are from Germany. We encountered a lot of really friendly, amazing people, so I don't at all like want to categorize like all German people are intolerant of tourists. That's not at all what I'm trying to say, but just like in our experiences and our review from this trip. So we'll just disclaimer that. And yeah, that's really just my whole review of our trip and things that we liked and things that we disliked. We had an amazing time. We would have loved to have stayed longer, and I know that we are going to go back again, hopefully, you know, not too long from now. If you didn't have an opportunity to check out the vlogs and the videos from this series, then I will leave, again, some links in the down bar below. Check out the blog post from our Alpine drive because I highly recommend it. It was some of the most amazing scenery that I've ever seen, quite possibly in my life. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and subscribe to the TL Travel YouTube channel because we post new travel content every Thursday and Sunday. And right here in just a couple of vlogs, we're going to be off to Thailand and you are not gonna wanna miss that crazy adventure. It's gonna be so much fun and I'm gonna have so much beautiful stuff to share with you guys. So until next time, stay great, travel safe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.